You are Locked On Warriors Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR, and tonight the Warriors got a win to start the road trip with a 107-104 win over the Detroit Pistons. And the Pistons made a game of it, man, even having a chance to tie and send it to OT at the buzzer. But the Dubs had just enough in the gas tank to hold them off and secure the win. This was in large part because the bench got it done tonight, even though Steph was just off from the field tonight. That shot just not falling for Steph Curry. The Warriors got significant contributions from Gui Santos, Lindy Waters, Buddy Hield, and Kevon Looney. We got to give some major love to all the role players tonight. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed and making us your first listen following these Dubs games. Make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. And tonight's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And tonight, man, the Warriors, first of all, they win this one not going away. They should have, they had an 18-point lead in the second half, and it just slowly evaporated, in large part because Steph just didn't have it tonight, man. Steph 5 of 21 from the field, 2 of 14 from three. That second three that he made was a massive one. It did turn into a 4-point play that gave the Warriors some momentum there in that fourth quarter, kind of stalled that Detroit Pistons comeback for just a little bit longer. And it was, that 4-point play ends up kind of looming large because the Warriors end up winning by 3 points in this one. The lot of things went the Warriors' way tonight. Tons of 50-50 balls going the Warriors' way, and that's not just luck. You had that happen because of the work down low by TJD, by Kevon Looney, by Gui Santos, man. Tonight, we had the Lindy Waters legacy game earlier this year. Gui Santos didn't quite have the same type of scoring output that Lindy had in that game earlier this season. But tonight, 4-6 from the field for Gui Santos, and all of those shots coming from beyond the arc. 4 3-pointers. He made all 3 of his first 3 attempts in that first half. And in the second quarter, man, Gui Santos really gave the Warriors a huge spark. And no, I did not think that I would be spending my postcast talking about Gui Santos and the lift that he gave the Warriors today. But man, we saw significant minutes from him tonight. This is probably the most minutes that he's played in a game. He had 26 minutes tonight. He was in the closing lineup for the Warriors down the stretch and had opportunities shooting free throws. He missed one of them there. That could have been a big deal if the Pistons ended up tying this game. On that last attempt, they had a shot there at the buzzer to tie this one and send it to overtime. But man, Gui Santos coming up with all the 50-50 balls. He had 3 offensive boards in this one, 5 total rebounds, 3 assists, a couple steals. My guy did end up with 4 turnovers, though. The first half, he was pretty good at not turning that ball over, had a couple of them in that second half. But, this was kind of a pleasant surprise tonight. We've seen Gui Santos on this roster for several years now and kind of wondered, what's the deal with this guy? Is he ever really going to mature and turn into something usable at the NBA level? He has grown significantly since he came into the Warriors organization. He looks like an adult now, whereas when he came in, he just looked like kind of like the skinny Rayleigh teenager. And now he's out there looking like an NBA player, getting, solid contributions from him out there on the floor in 26 minutes of action tonight. Really liked what I saw from Gui Santos. Really liked also what I saw from Lindy Waters, Kevon Looney, and of course, Buddy Hield. Buddy Buckets leads the Warriors in scoring tonight with 19 points, 5 of 11 from downtown. That shot all of a sudden coming back. And, Buddy looked engaged. He was sprinting again up and down the court, not out of control sprinting where he's, flying a million miles an hour ahead of the rest of the offense and trying to go on like a 1-on-3 fast break and falls down and gives the ball to the defense and it goes back the other way and they drain a 3. Not that version of Buddy Hield sprinting all around the floor. We had the controlled version where he was playing within his game and he was hitting shots, and Buddy was grabbing some boards tonight too, man, getting some deflections and just really being active out there in all the hustle plays. And this is what we saw from him at the beginning of the season. This is when he was at his best with the Warriors. And the Warriors have only lost one game all season long, when Buddy scores 14 or more points. Tonight, he scores 19, and the Warriors win again. And I don't think that that's a coincidence at all. When Buddy Hield is scoring, it gives the Warriors a second choice and helps them spread the floor. It doesn't mean everything is just on Steph's shoulders. And tonight, I mean, it really couldn't be just all on Steph, or the Warriors would have lost this game. Steph, 17 points, minus 14 plus minus, and just not very good shooting the ball tonight. 2 of 14 from three, as we mentioned, 5 of 21 from the field. He did snag 10 boards and 6 assists, so he made an impact on the game in other ways, as the great ones always find a way to do, even if the shot isn't falling. But again, tonight, it was about hustle. It was about effort. It was about these second chance buckets. And it was about the Warriors just outworking the Pistons for those offensive rebounds, 21-6 on the second chance points for the Warriors tonight. That was all based on effort, and it all centered around the bench guys and the big guys. Kevon Looney, TJD, battling for the boards all night long. Both of these dudes deserve a ton of credit for the work that they did down there. Out-rebounded the Pistons 58-47, and Loondog and TJD both really going to work on the boards. A combined 18 rebounds between the two in 47 minutes of action. So that's a lot of production you're getting from that center position throughout basically your 48 minutes of this NBA game. You always pretty much had one or the other in the lineup in this game against the Pistons. And I think that's when the Warriors are at their best, when they actually can operate on the interior and they can get some boards, and they don't have to rely on their wings to play above what they're capable of doing. No Andrew Wiggins tonight, no Jonathan Kuminga tonight. So you really had to play those bigs, because who the hell else is going to go grab all the rebounds? Draymond Green just going to grab 50 rebounds and that's the only rebounder on your team for a game? Like, no, that's not realistic. So the Warriors really leaning on those big guys tonight, and they've delivered, man. I mean, tons of tip outs that led to second chance points, tons and tons and tons of rebounds. Kevon Looney, 3 offensive boards, TJD, 2 offensive boards, and really, I mean, 15 as a whole offensive rebounds for the Warriors. That was a big, big deal in this one. The Pistons only had 7. So you really maximize your opportunities for those second chance points, and the Warriors were making the most of them tonight, at least for the most part. Steph had such an off night shooting, man. He missed a couple wide open threes on second chance opportunities, and just very un-Steph Curry-like. But this, again, felt like the Warriors at the beginning of the season. It was death by 1,000 different, from 1,000 different players. Like, not really 1,000 paper cuts, because you did have some big plays in this one and things like that, but it came from all directions. It wasn't just an avalanche from Steph Curry. It wasn't just another Curry 30 to 40 point scoring night where everybody else stands around and does nothing offensively. You saw 6 different players in double figures. Looney also had 8. Draymond also had 7. So you had contributions all up and down this roster. The only Pat Spencer and Kyle Anderson were the only 2 guys on the bench we haven't really talked about. They also, contributed a combined 5 points in 13 minutes. So, I mean, everybody who played any minutes for the Warriors tonight scored at least once. Pat Spencer, the low scorer for the Warriors, with 1. So just a really, all-around team effort tonight to beat the Detroit Pistons. And it might seem for a lot of Warriors fans like, on one perspective is this Detroit Pistons team has been really bad the last couple of years. To allow this team to come back when he had an 18-point lead in the second half and allow them to even make this a close game. I mean, they came within 3 points in that just within 1 point there in that fourth quarter. They beat the Warriors by 5 points in this fourth quarter, 30-25. That is a little bit concerning. But on the other side of that same coin, the Pistons have been playing pretty well this year. They're coming into this one, they had a 5-game win streak. The Warriors put a stop to that and bring the Pistons back to 19-19, the gravitational pull of 500, not just sucking the Warriors in there. It's also sucking in the Detroit Pistons. The Warriors moved to 19-18 with the win, and the Detroit Pistons moved to 19-19. So the Warriors 1 game over 500. They're very similar to this Detroit Pistons team record-wise, both home and road splits as well. So you beat a team that you're pretty much evenly matched with, and you barely beat them. So the Warriors kind of beating up tonight, or not beating up, but beating a team tonight that they should beat, in my opinion. But the margins are close, and you saw just how close they are in this final score, 107-104. This game was a one-possession game. The Warriors had a dominant, chokehold on this game, seemingly midway through the fourth quarter. They're up 18, and you just let the Pistons right back into this one. That is a little bit concerning for me. The defense, not as much of a concern as the offense. I'll explain what I'm talking about next here on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. One of my favorite memories was attending the Dead & Company concert last year at the Sphere. The energy, excitement, the vibes, the particles, just off the charts. And I got my tickets through Game Time. And now Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events, not just concerts, but sporting events too, through their new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out the fluff, show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Recently, I was looking for tickets for an upcoming Warriors game using the Game Time app, and with Game Time Picks, I found amazing deals, and you can even see the view from the seat before your final purchase. The super deal was particularly impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices, plus the app's all-in pricing shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Today's show is also sponsored by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence and take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX delivers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits or pharmacy trips. Everything is delivered straight to your door in discreet, plain packaging. With Rocket RX, you'll get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team, complete a quick 100% online consultation, and you can get your free prescription as soon as today. Visit rocketrx.com to get started right now. It only takes just 2 minutes. And right now, our listeners can get 40% off your first order when you use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's rocketrx.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your first order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, just checking in on the chat. My guy, Daniel, one of my favorite everydayers, Daniel. Yo, what's up, my dude? And I hope you enjoyed that Warriors win tonight, man. The Warriors wins have been so few and far between. And I got to tell you guys, it's not because of this defense. The defense does its job again. You hold a team to around 100 points, like less than 110 in today's NBA. That's a solid game by your defense. The Detroit Pistons have not been, shooting the ball like crazy this year, but they're not a bad team. Again, the Pistons 500, even 500 on the season. Cade Cunningham was, you saw on display how good he was tonight, and that's what he's been doing all year long. 32 points from Cade Cunningham, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. He had a bunch of assists, a bunch of rebounds. This guy just stuffing every single stat column. Cade Cunningham is like their do-it-all guy, and you got some pieces around him out there, and they got some nice young players, and the Oakland native, Asor Thompson, I like him a lot. And so this Pistons team isn't terrible, but I'm very concerned that the Warriors offense still looks as bad as it does. You go through stretches like they went through here in this fourth quarter, and it was like you held bated breath every single time the Warriors went down the court on offense, because the Pistons started making shots. They started to get some momentum, and the Warriors just could not buy a bucket. And this felt, again, kind of similar to some of these other games that the Warriors have failed to close out in the fourth quarter. And it just seemed like this one had the opportunity to get away from them. The Warriors made just enough shots to get this one done. And the offense needs to be able to respond. When you get punched in the mouth in the NBA, metaphorically, not like, this fake fight that we saw in the second half in this one where Beef Stew gets into it with Dennis the Menace, kind of, NBA fight. It's not a real fight. It's just we've got a bunch of guys pushing and yapping. But, you see in Warriors games, when they get pushed to the ground, when they get punched in the mouth, they have a really hard time responding offensively. Defensively, it's not the problem. It's not an attitude issue. It's an execution issue. It's a talent issue. It's that the Warriors just do not have the horses to run with other teams in the NBA when they're not making shots. Tonight think about it. going to rely on Gui Santos tonight to get this done. How many more nights are we going to rely on Gui Santos in the stretch, going down in crunch time, or clutch? I can't say the word, in clutch time, in the crunch, in those pivotal moments at the end of the game. We had Gui Santos running out there in those minutes. And without his, flurry in the second quarter, do the Warriors even win this game without all those extra possessions that he gave you, without those 3 balls? Like, Gui Santos gave you such a lift tonight, and it's from the most unexpected person on this roster. I mean, what's next? Pat Spencer going to go for 20? Like, it's just not a reliable thing. And I love Gui Santos. Like, he's a very fun story. He's a fun interview. He's a jovial guy just in general. There's a few guys that I've had the luxury of talking to from based on my old job at KMBR, where I was a producer there for the morning show, and I got to be the touch point for that show, and with a lot of other players that we'd have come on and things like that. And Gui Santos was one guy who just stood out to me because most athletes, you get them on the phone, I'm just some random producer at a radio station, they're like, okay, yeah, let me talk to the guy who's doing the interview. But Gui Santos, it took me a minute to get this guy off the phone. He just wanted to chat, I guess. Just seemed like just a genuinely nice dude. So I'm always rooting for my guy Gui. But let's be real, we cannot rely on this guy to do this again. And Lindy Waters has proven that he's as unreliable as they come. And it's nice when he plays well. Like tonight, 4 of 7 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. That's some solid 19 minutes from Lindy Waters. But we have seen what it can be. As bad, we can see how bad this can get. And the worst culprit of all of these is Buddy Hield. I mean, we've seen good Buddy, we've seen bad Buddy all through his entire career. And tonight we got good Buddy. And that's really in large part why the Warriors won. Without all of these guys clicking together, the Warriors don't win this game. They ended up shooting 32% from three-point land. And without Buddy Hield and Lindy Waters and Gui Santos making those three-pointers that they did, they completely bailed the Warriors out from three-point range, because other than that, you had Dennis Schroeder 1 for 5, Steph Curry 2 for 14, and Draymond Green 0 for 3. So, without those 3 role players chipping in and punching above their weight, you lose this game. So you need to find still reliable second scoring options. And that really concerns me, because the Warriors it's the reliable part. You have plenty of guys who should be able to put the ball in the net metaphorically. Like, Lindy Waters is a great shooter. Gui Santos looks like he shows flashes sometimes. Dennis Schroeder was having a career year in Brooklyn before he came here via trade. Draymond Green shooting great from three-point land this season as a whole, not so much tonight. But all of these things not really coming to fruition. You don't have Andrew Wiggins tonight. You didn't have Jonathan Kuminga. So you needed somebody else to bail you out. And not just one. You needed 3 somebodies. Buddy Hield, Lindy Waters, Gui Santos. Without those 3 players, the Warriors offense tonight would have been, this would have been such a painful watch. It would have been beyond inept. It would have been another show of us talking about how this team just does not have it. And we're still kind of talking about it. But the Warriors, every night I watch this team play, and every single time that I watch them go run out there in these moments where the other team starts to just make shots, because in the NBA, great offense is going to beat great defense. And sometimes you just got to be able to score with them. You just got to be able to keep up and kind of tread water and keep it close until they cool off. The Warriors can't do that. They don't have anyone who can get into the paint and get their own shot. They don't have anyone who can drive to the rim. They don't have anyone who can bust the zone, which we saw the Pistons kind of turn to, taking a page out of the Miami Heat playbook that we saw just a couple nights ago. And they went to the zone in the second half in this one, and the Warriors really had a hard time responding. It's kind of what prompted this surge in the fourth quarter from the Pistons. And you got to break it in one of 2 ways: shooting or driving to the paint and scoring and getting the defense to crash in around you, rotating the basketball around and swinging it around for an open shot. The Warriors aren't doing any of these things, like absolutely none of these things. So, you need to figure out a way where you can, win games more than just pure hustle and grit and determination. Like, you have to have some shooting. You have to have some finesse, some scoring. Like, give me something sexy out there. Like, I want to see the shot going in. I don't want to see, I like defense as much as the next guy, but it's the NBA. We want to see some scoring. I love the lockdown defense from the Warriors, but I don't want to see the Warriors out there just bricking shots all night long. It's not a very fun brand of basketball to watch. It's fun when they go in. It's not so fun when they don't. So The Warriors, just for fun's sake, need to start making some shots on offense. I mean, just for watchability, man. This team is so unwatchable when they go through these shooting slumps. It's just really hard to stay engaged sometimes. Like just from a fan's perspective, like this is not the Warriors that we've become accustomed to in the last couple of years, and we have been so unbelievably spoiled here in the Bay Area, an embarrassment of riches. Just since in the Steph Curry era. I mean, then you get Kevin Durant and everything that came with that. It's just been a run, a miraculous, marvelous run here in the Bay Area. And it's hard to let go of that. It's hard to adjust to the the new normal that is going to be what happens when Steph leaves. And this is a little bit of a peek into it. Like when Steph plays and has a bad game, like this is a little glimpse into the future of what life's going to be like when you don't have the greatest shooter on the planet on your roster. And the outlook is bleak right now for the Warriors. They don't have anybody reliable to lean on as this second scorer. And I mean, but you had to get contributions from everywhere. Dennis had a nice fourth quarter there, a couple key buckets down the stretch. The layup with about 1 minute left really was big for the Warriors. Excuse me. But Buddy Hield, the 19 points. TJD, we haven't talked about him very much at all other than just talking about the rebounds. But he also had 14 points and led the Warriors with a plus 16 plus minus 7 of 9 from the field. More minutes for my guy TJD. I mean, we saw the Warriors record kind of coincide with his increase in playing time last season. Let's go back to that this year. I mean, not that you really have another choice right now. You got not a lot of available bodies all of a sudden here for the Warriors to start this road trip. But you really hope that TJD can continue to play at the rate that he's playing and continue developing, getting better. I mean, the tenacity which he's taken the fight to the Pistons in the paint in this one really impressed me. The rebounding and just the second chance opportunities that he gave the Warriors. He also had 3 assists in this one. He's a big man who's got a little bit of touch on that pass. He was pretty solid tonight for the Dubs, and he's slowly stringing together a stretch of games where he's been really good. Remember, he had 19 points in the Warriors' last game against the Heat, and Kerr was just so despondent after the loss. He didn't really want to get into it very much. He kind of glossed over my guy TJD's great game, but I'm sure that Steve right now is giving TJD some props for all the effort and everything he did for the Warriors down low tonight. I mean, just battling on that block. A great night for TJD and something that he can build on going forward. And again, the Warriors are going to need him because where's the rebounding going to come from when Wiggins isn't in the lineup and Jonathan Kuminga isn't in the lineup as well? You got to lean on these bigger bodies. Steve Kerr being forced to play a true center, something that he just seems to have just absolutely despised doing his entire career as the Warriors head coach. But tonight, it translates to a 107-104 win for the Golden State Warriors. And it was really, again, an all-around team effort. Overcoming this Steph Curry slump. Is this a repeatable formula? Let's get into that next on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is sponsored by Ultimate GM. I want to take a moment and introduce you to a brand new mobile game that I am really excited about. Ultimate College Basketball HC. If you've ever dreamed about being a college basketball head coach, this is your chance to step into those shoes. In Ultimate College Basketball HC, you control every detail of your program, from recruiting players and hiring coaching staff to overseeing training camps, handling NIL deals, and managing scholarships. It's all in your hands. When it comes to game time, you get to drop offensive plays and set your strategy. That way your play won't just affect the current season, it will shape the future of your school's basketball program. It's a game that lets you feel the full weight of what it means to be a head coach and lead your team to glory. Here's a special offer for Locked On NBA listeners. Just use promo code LOCKEDONCBB, all caps, inside the game store to get a free boost for your program. It's the perfect way to kickstart your coaching career. To download Ultimate College Basketball HC, just visit ultimate-cbb.com or look it up on the App Store. Ultimate College Basketball HC. Begin your coaching career today. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and tonight the Warriors hang on to win 107-104. And they held on by the skin of their teeth, man. Like the Pistons brought this one to just a 1-point game there in the fourth after the Warriors had an 18-point lead in the fourth quarter. And man, the Warriors just seem to really struggle with closing these games out. when Steph Curry is not being, Chef Curry, when he's not being the greatest closer that we've seen in this modern era of basketball. We have not seen that version of Steph Curry as often as we've seen it in years past. He is 36. He's getting older. So tonight, another one of those games where Steph is just off, and the Warriors needed contributions from everybody. This win tonight, definitely not a repeatable formula. Like, you had Gui Santos, Lindy Waters, and Buddy Hield all needed to score in double figures for the Warriors to win this game tonight, and they needed every single one of those points. And again, this is not something that I think that you can hang your hat on. I mean, the defense has been there all season long. Again, holding a team to 104 points, you're going to win some games in the NBA like that. That's fine. But the Warriors offense has been so bad, so inept. I mean, the only difference between the Warriors scoring in the 90s tonight and losing this game and scoring 107 and winning is Gui Santos in his 13 points, his 4 6 threes. And I mean, it's Gui Santos. I like the guy again, but he's not the most consistent player, and neither is Lindy Waters, neither is Buddy Hield. But you got to find somebody to lean on when Steph doesn't have it. You can't have just no other option, no backup option. I mean, you had the built-in backup option for so many years with Klay Thompson here. Klay's gone. Klay's out there in Dallas with Kyrie and Luka. And you can't leave Steph on an island here by himself, just peering over there with the binoculars and feeling jealous that he doesn't have a buddy to run around and drain threes with. I mean, I guess he does have a buddy hanging around, a Buddy Hield hanging around, but he has not been draining too many threes lately, and it's been a tough watch. Tonight, Buddy steps up in a big way, 5 of 11 from deep. And again, the hustle from Buddy Hield tonight, the effort on the boards, running in transition, really opened up the floor for the Warriors, for Steph. Even though the shots weren't really falling for Steph, it helped other guys get involved, and the effort was contagious. So all the other Warriors role players started to really step up and get involved. I think when they saw Buddy Hield really, kind of start this game off on a good note. So everybody contributes tonight. 6 different Warriors in double figures, but this win has me kind of concerned. It's great to get a win, get back over 500, but I'm still concerned. I mean, they have no real second scoring option unless all these role players are hitting on the right level. You're not going to win games, and you got to find a second scoring option. It just further exemplifies how badly this team desperately needs to make a trade and improve the talent on this roster. They are just so talent deficient. I mean, they're right about where you'd expect them to be when you look at the talent on this roster. They're right at about 500. So the Warriors, I mean, they win tonight, and I feel a little weird about it because this is not the normal tone that I have on these Warriors postcasts after wins. But hey, call them as I see them, and I'm not really excited about this win tonight. I'm a little concerned how the Warriors are going to continue to build on this. They got the Pacers coming up next. The Pacers are a very fast-paced team. They love to get out and run in transition. They love to score the basketball. We'll see if the Warriors can keep pace, but I have some serious doubts about the Warriors being able to get into an offensive firefight and come out victorious right now when they have no Jonathan Kuminga and really no second option to Stephen Curry. It's all the time that we got for you guys today here on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Thanks so much for tuning in and making us your first listen following these Dubs games. And don't forget to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show with Charlie Walter. He does a phenomenal job. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time. Peace.